All right, all right. Welcome back, gang. It's been a while, but I'm still here. I'm still kicking. And those of you who are in Patreon and subscribe to the YouTube channel with notifications turned on, you guys know that I've been here. I've been around, right? I haven't gone anywhere. I'm still posting MLB videos. I'm still posting winning picks daily to our Discord for Patreon members. All right, so the grind never stops. Just because maybe I don't go live as much during the summer. Maybe because you don't see this handsome face quite as much as you used to during NBA season. That doesn't mean that I've stopped, okay? I'm still going. I'm still kicking. I appreciate everybody who is still rocking with me through the MLB videos that I drop, through what I'm doing, behind the scenes in Patreon and Discord and all that stuff. We've been doing pretty well for the month of August. Month of July, not so hot. But yeah, I've been kind of laying low, taking a little time away. Not so much time in front of the camera, a little more time behind the scenes, working on some things. I'm working on getting a little merch store put together. Hopefully I'll have some merchandise soon. Another way that you guys can choose to support what I do here. It's not going to be no corny merch. Hopefully it's going to be some dope looking stuff that you're proud to wear, walk around in the streets in, okay? So that's what I've been up to. That's what I've been doing. All right. Appreciate everybody who's joining me. Let's run through the chat real quick because I see a lot of familiar faces in here who have stopped by to say what's up. T-Bone, what's happening? I got Dorf in the building. My man Ali's here. Jigga Man, shout out to you. Marvin says, let's get it. Handmaid's in the building. We got Delvin Shin. He's ready to get that money. Shout out to Delvin, who just retired from the military. Thank you for your service, Mr. Shin. We appreciate you. Jason Singleton's in the building. Shout out to Jason. We got Steven in here, Lord De Niro, aka Mr. Money in the Bags, I think his name is, something like that. Broderick, shout out to you. Tyrone's in the building. He says, what it do? What's up, Mr. McGrew? I see you, I see you. All right, so we got, what do we have tonight? We got a lot of baseball. We got a lot of baseball games to choose from, a lot of different ways we could go with that. Obviously, it is Flex Friday. We can mix in some WNBA, so I'm down to look at whatever you guys want to look at. We're going to do some research together. We're going to take a look at some of these different ways, different options. Hopefully, through the use of all these different tools that I got pulled up here, we can turn a 6-pick flex into a 25x payday. You know what I'm saying? I think you know what I'm saying. We're going big. We're going big or we're going home. Yeah, but you get your first entry on PrizePicks totally protected thanks to the Flex Friday promo that they got going on here. Now, let's talk about this for a minute. You know, me, when I started playing these Flex Friday entries, I was putting $20 down. I was thinking $20 protected play, right? If I go, I don't know, 2 for 6, 3 for 6, they're going to give me my full $20 back. It's $20 in net winnings is protected. All right. So what I've realized is that really the better way to go is putting $33.33 on my 6-pick flex entry. Now, if you go 4 for 6, which tends to kind of be the case more often than not for me, I'm very rarely am I going like 2 for 6, 3 for 6. A lot of the times I'm going 4 for 6, maybe 5 for 6, or hopefully 6 for 6. That would be the most desired outcome, right? But I've been putting $33.33 on. If you go 4 for 6 by putting $33.33 on your 6-pick protected play, 4 for 6, you still get $13.33 back, and you get the full $20 refunded to you in net losses in this case. We would lose $20 net. So that's what I would recommend that you guys do. Go for a 6-pick flex, put $33.33 on it, hope that you get 4 out of 6 or better, right? 4 out of 6, you get the full $20 back. You haven't lost anything really. 5 out of 6, you would get double your money. You would turn $33.33 into $66.66. Or if you go 6 for 6, I think it comes out to like $800 and something. That's the one we're going for today. But that's been my strategy lately, and I've been trying to reduce the amount of picks that could potentially tie or push in my 6-pick flex entry. I don't want too many of those in there. I don't want my 6-pick to become a 5, my 5 to become a 4, and so on. You know how it goes, right? If a pick ties or pushes on PrizePicks, it reverts down to this next lowest entry size, which means your payout is also reduced. We don't want that. That's not what I'm going for. I'm trying to go for all the money. We want the gold. All right, so it is Flex Friday. I have not put in a flex entry yet. We're going to do some research live together. We're going to see what's looking good. Appreciate all the likes. We're up to 21 likes so far. 41 of you are watching, which means about half of you have not slapped the like button. Do that for me. Let's get this out to as many people as possible. We're getting warmed up again. We're getting ready for NFL season. NBA's right around the corner as well. So, just wanted to stop by on a Flex Friday and see if we could put together a 6-pick flex entry. If you have any plays, any picks that you guys are liking, guys, feel free to leave them in the chat. We will do the research. We will look at them together. Any questions you have about a particular play, it could be a fantasy score, it could be a single stat player projection. I'm here for it. All right, PrizePicks plays only. We're not dabbling on any of the other sites. I'm a PrizePicks dude. I'm loyal, all right? Some of y'all ain't loyal, though. I see y'all playing on some of these other sites, but that's all right. Today is all about Flex Friday and PrizePicks. All right. Guxry, thank you, man. Appreciate that super chat that you left. Feel free to use super chat as well if you want to help support the live stream and the content, or just join Patreon, 66 cents a day, 20 bucks a month. Listen. We're putting winning plays out each and every night. We're doing our best as a community to help you get to the bags. I guess let's start by looking at the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer. I mean, we could go a lot of different ways here as far as where we want to start our research. For me, where I typically start is right here. If you're not using the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer, it's a great time to get signed up. You guys who have watched my content in the past, you know about this tool by now. It is a game changer. Whether you're playing on PrizePicks or somewhere else that offers parlay style pick'em plays, right? This tool right here will help you get in on the value before the lines get bumped up, bumped down, or they get completely taken down by the PrizePicks lines makers. All right. So if you want to try this out, you can save $5. Use code Curry. I've left a link down in the description of today's video. Go check it out. Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer. But just taking a look here, just right off rip, it supports a lot of different things, and they're constantly adding new ways to play or to research, I should say, on the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer. So we're going to start with some baseball. They got Shohei Ohtani and Kyle Tucker up here for their hits, runs, and RBI combo under 4, giving this about a 59.5% chance to come through and hit for us. So they think that Ohtani and Tucker are going to go for less. Well, they don't think. They're basing this off of the odds pulled from sports books like DraftKings. Is this Bovada? I can't tell what this site is, but basically those odds are like minus 147, minus 146 for both of those guys to go under their hits, runs, and RBI. So we can make this real simple. We could go and take a look here at The Bat by Derek Carty. We could take a look at some projections, see if these guys are projecting well, if they're projecting not so well. In this case, we don't want them to be projected for a combined hit, run, and RBI number that goes above 4, right? So let's go take a look at EV Analytics. Now, EV Analytics is the site that I like to use when it comes to The Bat. This basically will show you the edges for any particular player prop that you could think of that's currently up on the PrizePicks board, and you can filter it out. They got a lot of different ways here that you can filter this out. In this case, I'm just looking at PrizePicks. That's my sports book, or in this case, daily fantasy sport site of choice. They support PrizePicks and Underdog, as well as a bunch of different sports books. Then you choose your market. There's a lot of different market filters that you could turn on or off here. They support darn near everything: hits, runs, RBIs, hits, runs, and RBIs, which is what we're going to look at in just a moment. The likelihood of a stolen base, a single, a double, a triple, home runs, total bases, strikeouts, hits allowed. I mean, The Bat has it all right? I think you get the point. And then you can choose which team you want to filter by. In this case, we want to look at the LA Angels because we're thinking about Shohei Ohtani, right, and his hits, runs, and RBIs, being that it is a plus EV play according to what we're seeing here. So let's go ahead and see if we could just maybe search for Ohtani. There we go. That works. So they got Ohtani projected for about 2.1 hits, runs, and RBIs, all right? Which means Kyle Tucker is going to have to be projected for about less than 2 if we're thinking about taking the under here. So let's just go over to Houston, type in Tucker's name, and we got a projection for Kyle Tucker at 2.57. So that's going to be more than 4. This could definitely be one of those types of picks or plays that could potentially tie or push. But yeah, 2.57 for Tucker plus the Ohtani option, which was, 2.1 0.17. So that puts them at a combined like 4.6 hits, runs, and RBIs. So I'm going to stay away from that one, being that they are projected to go over that, although they're not projected to go much higher than that. But together, combined, they are projected to go for more than 4 hits, runs, and RBIs. They just released some fantasy scores here at the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer. That's been one of the major changes and updates to the app. They have everything from hitter fantasy score. They support pitcher fantasy score now. They even have like a separate section here where you can kind of get an idea of which fantasy score options have the biggest difference or edge in this case. So they've got pitchers and everything all here. So like Corbin Burns, he's at 37.5 fantasy score based on the different things, the different stats or markets that comprise a pitcher fantasy score. The Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer gives Corbin Burns a 35.5 fantasy score projection. So they expect Corbin Burns to go under 37.5 fantasy score. So let's continue to look at the bat here. I want to look at Corbin Burns and see what the projection on the bat is. Now check this projection out. And just a reminder for you guys who are new to playing fantasy score projections on PrizePicks, pitcher fantasy score is based on FanDuel. Hitter fantasy score is based on DraftKings. In other words, they use the same scoring as FanDuel and DraftKings. So FanDuel for pitchers, DraftKings scoring for hitters. All right. So in this case, we're looking at Corbin Burns here, and we've got a projection on the bat of just 30.8 fantasy points or fantasy score. Now, again, the optimizer said that we should be taking the under. So Corbin Burns projected way under here on the bat at 30.8. We can check a couple of different other models as well. In this case, we're looking at RotoWire. They've got Corbin Burns all the way down at 31.8 pitcher fantasy score on a line of 37.5. So things are looking pretty good here for a Corbin Burns under play thus far. Let's head over here to another model. This is going to be Fantasy Labs. Fantasy Labs has Corbin Burns at 34.3, which is obviously less than 37.5. So I think we're finding some value here early on with Corbin Burns. Over on Number Fire, they got Corbin Burns down at 34.5, gang. That's 4 different projection models plus the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer. That's all on the under on Corbin Burns. So let's start there. I think I'll make that the first pick. He's at 37.5. I think we take the under. There's a lot of data here, a lot of projections that are way smarter than this dude, that are probably way smarter than you. All right, that are all suggesting that we take the under here on Corbin Burns. So I'm going to say under on Corbin Burns based on everything that I've gathered here, right? We got another one here we could look at. Luis Castillo, 36.5 fantasy score. This one's a little tighter based on what they've pulled from the different sports books here. About 35 fantasy score for Luis Castillo is the expected projection. So again, this could be another underplay. So we could go and kind of look through the bat, look through some of these other options and see if Castillo's projecting well or not. Now right here, he's at 37 on the bat, which is my favorite MLB projection model. Let's check another one. 33.9, a little bit lower there. 37, 33.9, those are both under 37.5 for Castillo. What about Fantasy Labs? We could go check them out. They've got Castillo projected for 35.2 going up against Baltimore tonight. So that's another under. And then we go over to Number Fire and check out Castillo there. Bit higher at 39.1. But I think if we were to kind of average all of these together, we would see that Castillo is probably coming out slightly under 37.5. So I don't know that I'm going to take him, but oh, he's already been bumped down to 36.5. Ooh, that makes things even more interesting. I think I'm going to fade it. I think I'm going to leave this one alone, in other words. But let's keep looking. Let's see what else we got. Let's go back to the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer and see if there's anything else that's sticking out here. I have this neat little plugin. Guys, if you're using the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer and you're using Google Chrome, I would highly recommend you go and install this little extension. It's a tab auto refresh, and I have it set to 120 seconds, which means every 2 minutes that goes by, it'll automatically refresh this page. So you don't have to keep manually clicking the refresh button. You could set it to whatever time you want, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 90 seconds. I chose 120. So every 2 minutes, this page automatically refreshes. Just something that, maybe you should consider. Marvin says, what about Lance? Marvin, what about Lance? Tell me what it is that you're liking about Lance or not liking about Lance. Are you looking at his strikeouts? Are you looking at fantasy score? What are we thinking about Mr. Lance Lynn? Guy who's been giving up a lot of earned runs this season. Let's plug his name in here and see if anything's popping out to us about Lance Lynn. Got about a 52.7% chance that Lance Lynn stays under 8 strikeouts. I mean, maybe that's one way that you want to go. He's at 7.5 on the books. He's probably getting a lot of juice on the over at 7.5, which is why PrizePicks has went ahead and bumped him up to 8. So you could go under perhaps on Lance Lynn's strikeout line. You're looking at fantasy score. Well, based on what I'm seeing here, they're giving Lance Lynn about a 50.8% chance to go under on the fantasy score. So the one that has the better odds of hitting would be his strikeouts. Let's take a look at Lance Lynn's Ks real quick. And we can look at this fantasy score while we're here. His K projection, 8.92 according to the bat. He's going up against the Colorado Rockies, guys. They're bad. All right, they're bad. They swing and miss a lot. So that's why Lance Lynn's strikeouts are so darn high. At 7.5, I think you definitely want to take the over. You're not getting him at 7.5 on PrizePicks, unfortunately, but if you can get him somewhere at 7.5, I would say that the over is probably the way to go. But the fantasy score, 45.4 projected fantasy score. And what did we say Lance Lynn was at today? Let's take a look. His fantasy score is at 41.5. So the bat actually thinks that based on everything that they consider here, the umpire, the weather, the ballpark they're playing in, the lineup that he's potentially going to face, all of that stuff is factored into these fantasy score projections that the bat puts out there. In this case, they think Lance Lynn is going to go over. To me, that's going to scream fade. I know that based on the sportsbook data, the suggestion is to take the under on Lance Lynn. But when I see a projection, and I know that the bat is a sharp projection model that has him going over, it's just going to be a fade for me. I don't like conflicting information. I don't like when things aren't jiving well, so to speak. Only one time to shine, asking about Charlie Morton over strikeouts. Maybe let's take a look. That's why I'm here. I'm here to help you guys out. I'm here to hopefully build out a winning 6-pick flex entry. We got Charlie Morton at 6Ks today on PrizePicks. He's at 5.5 on the sports books, which means a lot of bettors out there thinks Charlie Morton's going to go over 5.5. PrizePicks has bumped him up to 6. Now, he's at 6, but at 6 strikeouts, he had about a 53% chance of actually going under 6 strikeouts. Let's apply some projections here. Now that we know that the odds are saying that he is going to go under 6Ks. Let's see what the projection models have for Charlie Morton. So here's one projection from the bat, 6.4 Ks, which is closer to 6 than 7. So maybe there's a little bit of a push potential here where he lands on exactly 6. Again, that's not really what I'm looking for when I'm building out a 6-pick flex. I don't want any potential ties or pushes. That's just me, my preference. Second projection here for Charlie Morton, 4.9 Ks, let's call it, on RotoWire. Quite a bit less than 6. So you have very polarizing projections, the bat versus RotoWire. Let's look at a couple other projections real quick on Morton. Morton is at 6.4 Ks according to Fantasy Labs. So Fantasy Labs kind of more in agreement with the bat. I trust the bat and Fantasy Labs probably just a little bit more than I do RotoWire, if I were to kind of rank them. The bat would be number 1 for me, then probably Fantasy Labs. RotoWire might be like 3rd, but not a distant 3rd. They're still a very good projection model. But as you can see, you're getting very different projections for Charlie Morton. Let's just check NumberFire while we're at it. And this is what I kind of do. I kind of aggregate projections, right? And those of you who are in Patreon, Discord, you know that I'm very thorough. I check as many projection models that I can get my hands on because I want to kind of get a range of potential outcomes for a player. In this case, Charlie Morton, 6.1 Ks over on NumberFire. So you got 3 out of 4 models that have Charlie Morton to go for over 6 Ks. All right. For whatever reason, RotoWire's got him down at 4.9. Let me just double check something here, because sometimes that little PrizePicks tool that RotoWire has, it has conflicting information. So I want to just double check here in this daily projection section of RotoWire. 4.9, which is in line with this. Okay, so RotoWire's on the low end. The other three sites all have Charlie Morton going for 6 or more. I'm going to leave him off. I just don't want to put anything in there that could potentially tie or push. So I'm going to stay away from it. JC says that he's at 7.5 on PrizePicks. Who's that? Lance Lynn? Oh, okay. Maybe that got bumped down because I thought I saw him at 8 somewhere. Am I wrong on that? Let me look at Lance Lynn at 7.5. Maybe that gets a little bit more interesting. Yeah. All right, there we go. So I think he was bumped down from 8 down to 7.5 Ks. At 7.5 Ks, Lance Lynn's got a 53.8% chance of going over on that number. And you can kind of see the different sports books that have him at 7.5. You're getting minus 136, minus 145, etc. odds that he's going to go over 7.5. So let's look at Lance Lynn real quick. That could be an interesting option for us. Now that he's down at 7.5, he might be worth throwing in there. Let's see. We got him at 8.9 Ks on the bat, folks. Again, the line is 7.5. So that's a huge difference, right? Let's check some other models, though. 6.6 Ks on RotoWire. They're very low, once again, on Lance Lynn, as they were on Charlie Morton. Let's go check him out on Fantasy Labs. Fantasy Labs has him at 7 Ks. That's 2 out of 3 models that like Lynn to stay under 7.5. Heading over to Numberfire and seeing what they've got to say. They've got Lance Lynn at 6.85 Ks. So the bat stands alone here. The bat is the only site that has Lance Lynn going over 7.5 Ks. Now, I said that the bat is my favorite projection model, right? It has been the most accurate original MLB projection model for 3 years in a row, but sometimes it gets it wrong. I'm not saying it's going to get it wrong tonight. I'm just saying that sometimes it does get it wrong. Now, we could roll with Lance Lynn here. Look at a little risky when you got 3 models that say he's going to go under 7.5. One model that says he's going to get close to 9 strikeouts tonight. So we're kind of in a conundrum, a pickle. I don't know. I don't know what we do here. I think I'm going to leave it alone for right now. Chris says, a Patreon member here would like to know about Trey Turner at 1.5 total bases. Well, let's go take a look at Trey Turner. Happy to help you fine Patreon folks out. Trey Turner, 1.5 total bases, right? He's got a 51.4% chance of going over this. So you're getting a little bit of juice here on the over. You definitely don't want to take it under. Only a 48.5% chance that he goes under. So the over would be the way to go, the optimal way to go. But is he projecting well? That's really kind of the question, right? Let's go take a look at some Trey Turner projections here. Trey Turner's total base projection, 1.96 according to the bat. He's going up against Dallas Keuchel today. In case y'all don't know, Dallas Keuchel, not a very good pitcher, hasn't been a very good pitcher in quite some time. I think he's probably just being used as a filler, a temporary replacement. I don't think Dallas Keuchel is going to stick with the Minnesota Twins for very long. But yeah, Trey Turner against Dallas Keuchel looks like a pretty good matchup. 1.96 is his projected total bases. We head over here. We can take a look at some other projections. 1.9 according to RotoWire. So you need 2 total bases. Now, some of y'all have questions about total bases. I keep getting, questions in Discord, and I see that, not everybody has a firm understanding or grasp of what a total base is. Basically, Trey Turner has to use that wooden stick in his hand to hit the ball. And if he gets on first base with 1 hit, that's 1 total base. Now, if he hits that ball and he gets to second base, that's 2 total bases. If he hits a triple, that's 3 total bases. If he hits a home run, well, he's way over his total bases. So in this case, we need Trey Turner to get like 2 or more singles, one double, a home run, one triple, you know, any combination thereof. Walks don't count. Getting hit by a pitch doesn't count. If he gets on first base and he steals second base, that's not a total base either. All right. So I just want to be very clear, let you guys know what a total base actually is. Trey Turner has to use his baseball bat to get a hit and get on base. You'll see some other situations out there where you'll see a player who says he reached first base on a fielder's choice. Fielder's choices do not count. All right. If they get the runner headed to second base out and Trey Turner gets on first base, well, that was the fielder's decision. He could have easily thrown to first base and got Trey Turner out, but he chose to go to second base and get that runner out. All right. So fielder's choices do not count as total bases either. Just to clarify, I want to make sure everybody knows what a total base is. All right. All right. Let's see here. So Trey Turner is slightly a plus EV play. Is it the most plus EV play on the board? No. Is he projected well? Yes. Two different sites here, RotoWire, The Bat, they like Trey Turner for close to 2 total bases. And we know that Dallas Keuchel's kind of a bum. All right. He's not very good. So there's your answer. Hopefully that helps you out with the Trey Turner question. Let's see here. Hip Hop Studies coming through with a question. He says, would you consider Mookie Betts over 1.5 total bases? Some books are almost even on the over under. Hip Hop Studies, great question. Let's go take a look at the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer. Now, what the optimizer is great at doing is it strips out what they call the VIG and gives you true odds. In other words, what are the real odds? What are the real chances that this player can go over or under on a particular player prop? All right. So you see some of these books, they're at, minus 129, minus 130, minus 125, minus 135. Well, the true odds of this are actually minus 127, like you see here under the Daily Grind logo, the DGF logo. So that's the true odds of this play hitting. Now, the over looks like the way to go on Mookie Betts, 52.45% chance that he goes over 1.5 total bases. So just like I explained with Trey Turner, Mookie Betts needs to get on base at least twice. He can hit a double. He can hit a home run. He can hit a triple. He can hit 2 singles. There's a lot of different ways he can get there, right? But he has to use his bat. If he doesn't use his bat, he can't get a base. All right? Doesn't count. Can't get walked. Walks don't count. All right, so that's the situation with Mookie Betts. Now let's see if it projects well. He is a plus EV play, but we want to see about some projections. We want to see what the bat thinks, right? At least I do. Projected for 2.32 total bases going up against another tin can of a pitcher. That's Austin Gomber. Not a very good pitcher. So yeah, Mookie Betts 2.32 total base projection going up against Austin Gomber. That looks good to me. Let's check another projection on Mookie Betts real quick. Total base projection on RotoWire has him at 2.91. Projected total bases on a line of 1.5. Now, if you believe that he's going to get on base at least twice, well, he's good at stealing bases, pretty good. He's also got some good teammates batting behind him. So if he finds himself on base, whether that be, by using his bat, or maybe he gets walked and he ends up on base that way, well, he's got a lot of good players hitting behind him who could potentially drive him in. So he might be able to get a run or a stolen base, which is good for fantasy score purposes. I just want to point out his fantasy score here on RotoWire is at 13.3 projected fantasy score on a line of just 9. Pretty big difference. 47% edge or advantage according to RotoWire here. So you could go that way as well. The bat has Mookie Betts' fantasy score projection at 11.1. Again, the line is 9. So you could either take the total bases or you could take the fantasy score. I think both of them look like pretty good options here. Not terrible. All right. Like I said, if he gets on base, whether that be by a walk or by a hit, he's got a lot of good players behind him that could potentially drive him in and get him across home plate for a run as well. So, something to think about. Mookie Betts, though, looking like a pretty good play. Total bases, fantasy score or otherwise. For now, let's go ahead and add Mookie. Also want to check the bat real quick to make sure Mookie's not in a cold slump. See this little column right here? It says cold. Some players have not been playing well lately, and they could potentially be in a cold slump. Somebody like, who's a name we might know? I don't know. Travis Jankowski is considered to be on a cold streak right now. All right. So that's another cool thing about the bat that it provides you. Trent Grisham, he's always up there at like 0.5 total bases, right? But he's considered to be in a cold slump right now. Jose Abreu, cold slump. Javier Baez, cold slump. Andrew Benintendi, also in a cold slump. So some of these guys are listed as cold. I just wanted to point that out. But the good news is for us that Mookie Betts is not in a cold slump right now. So what do we want to do, gang? We want to go total bases on Mookie Betts. Do we want to go fantasy score for total for Mookie Betts? We could go total bases, fantasy score, either one. I mean, I think he looks all right though. I think I kind of want to include Mookie Betts in here. I mean, he's got 2 games in a row where he's kind of underachieved, underperformed, right? Against Arizona, he's had 16-0. Go back to San Diego, 16-20. Only 5 in that first game against Colorado. We got 1 vote here for total bases for Mookie Betts. He has not cleared his total bases in the last 2 games. He has not cleared his fantasy score in the last 2 games. All right. Mookie Betts gets walked. I'm blaming Tyrone. We'll go with Mookie Betts over 1.5 total bases for now then. Hopefully he doesn't get walked 2 or 3 times. That would be the worst. All right. Just hit a bomb. A home run, a double, a triple. Boom. 1 swing of the bat. We're there. We're there, right? All right. So we'll go with that one. Looking at some of your other questions here. Everyday Fantasy coming through with a super chat. Hey, I appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. Verlander, 1.5 walks allowed. Interesting. Justin Verlander. Is this his first start since the trade to Houston, or is this second? How many times has he started? I'm trying to remember. I kind of want to say this is his first start since being traded back to Houston. I could be wrong, though. Second start, Jason. All right, cool. Anyway, Justin Verlander's at 1.5 walks allowed. This is a play sent to us by Everyday Fantasy, aka Don P. If you guys are in the Discord, you know Don P. He's been very sharp. He's been very hot with the live strikeouts for the pitchers. So let's see if Don P's got anything cooking up here with Justin Verlander and these walks allowed. You know what I'm going to do first and foremost? I want to see if this is a plus EV play. Which way is the juice flowing here on Verlander? Walks allowed, kind of a 50-50. 50.38% chance that he goes over 1.5 walks allowed, which ain't a whole lot, right? You can see the under is at 49.62. Slight edge or advantage, I guess you could say, to the over for Justin Verlander's walks allowed. Let's take a look at some of these projections real quick on Verlander. The bat's got him at 1.62 walks allowed. Again, the line's 1.5. We're hoping, if you take the over on Verlander, that is, that he goes for at least 2 or allows at least 2 walks. So that's not a super strong projection. Just for comparison's sake, so he's at 1.62 walks allowed. The highest projected walks allowed today is Michael Kopech at 2.72. Behind him is Blake Snell at 2.5. So you got Verlander at 1.6. Like, it's all right. Decent. Let's check some other projections real quick, though. 1.35 on RotoWire. The line's 1.5. He's at 1.35, so that's not a super strong projection either. So I don't know. You didn't specify if you wanted to go over or under on this. Like I said, it's about a 50-50 prop anyway. 1.88 projected walks on Number Fire for Verlander. I'm not convinced. That could hit. It could hit, but I'm just not sold on this. I think that there's way better plays that we could possibly dig up here. What do you think, though, Everyday Fantasy? Give me your feedback. I've shown you a few things. You liking it? You hating it? Let me know what you think, Mr. Everyday Fantasy. Let's see here. CP4 has a WNBA play. Elizabeth Williams over 5.5 boards. Let's take a peek real quick. I'm going to look at props.cash. We can easily pull up some game logs for Elizabeth Williams. I've been playing her fantasy score lately, and she's been coming through. I think I've played it 2 games in a row now, and she's become one of my wagons. She's a wagon with a wagon, if you know what I'm saying. Those of y'all who watch these games. Liz got the wagon. Anyway, y'all got me thinking about wagons now. Let's go find Elizabeth Williams and see how many rebounds this young lady has been pulling down over the last few games, right? That's what we're here for. We're not here for the wagons. Let's see. We're going to go season view. She's at 5.5 boards, averaging 5.6 for the season, but she's really picked that up in the last 10 games, 6.3. Last 5 games, though, taking a little dip down to 5.2. But she seems to have the New York Liberty's number, right? Played them basically in back-to-back games back at the beginning of June. She had 6 boards, followed by 7 boards. So she did clear the 5.5 rebound line, not once, but twice against the New York Liberty. So that's something to kind of consider. In a slump in the last 5 games, but good in head-to-head matchups against New York. But only 5.6 boards. She's kind of an inconsistent rebounder. If this line was at 5, look what happens when we dial it down to 4.5. 5 or better, she goes up to a 68% hit rate. So if this thing got bumped down to 5, I'd feel a little bit more comfortable about it. Wouldn't you? But that's not the case, folks. It's at 5.5 according to PrizePicks. So, what about a projection? I think I got that for you. Let me take a look. Let's refresh, make sure we have all the latest and greatest projections pulled up here. We're going to go to RotoWire real quick, where they have her projected for 7.1 big boards for Elizabeth Williams. What do y'all think about that? Let's see if I can pull her up here on the optimizer. See if we can add a little bit of sports book data to this. Elizabeth, the wagon Williams. Actually, based on what we're seeing here, she's about a 50-50, kind of a toss-up play, a coin flip based on the odds that we're seeing here. The only other site that has her even listed for a rebound projection would be Underdog and Parlay Play. No, I'm sorry, just Parlay Play, not Underdog. Anyway, it's about a 50-50, man. Now, you could go off the historical hit rates where she's 2 for 2 against New York. You can ride with the projections that has her at over 7 boards tonight. That could be the move. But there's your glimpse, your peek at Elizabeth Williams. What do they got her fantasy score at today? That's what I'm wondering. I'm going to leave Verlander off for right now. So far we got Burns under 37.5 fantasy score. And we got Mookie Betts for 2 or better total bases. Let's go take a look at Elizabeth Williams real quick, though. Now, y'all got me curious. Yeah, she's only at 25.5 fantasy score. Like I said, the last couple games, I've been riding with the fantasy score here. 29.1 against Dallas, and then she comes back with an even better performance. 38.8 fantasy score against the Minnesota, not the Wild, not the Timberwolves. What's their name again? Y'all gotta help me out, Lord Jesus. Minnesota, it's slipping my mind. And it damn sure ain't the Vikings. I know that much. Lynx. There it is. The Lynx. The Lynx. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate the assist. That's 1 assist for 6-0 Bixo. Dropping dimes. Appreciate you. All right, let's take a look at a fantasy score projection real quick. I mentioned that she's been pretty good hitting that fantasy score. That could be the better way to go. Maybe that's the option that we prefer here. Let's pull those projections up real quick, see if we've got one for Lizzo. No, not Lizzo. Lizzo's getting canceled right now, y'all. We can't, no Lizzo references. She's in hot water. Let's go see what she's done here lately. I want to see what she's done against today's opponent. Who did we say she was playing? The Liberty? Let's see, I'm sure she's played them at least twice before, right? Like we said, she had 26.2 fantasy score back on June 2nd. She's also had 37.4 fantasy score against them in those two back-to-back games. All right, so 26.2 and 37.4 for Elizabeth Williams in those games. So she's at 25.5. So she's 2 for 2, covering her fantasy score against the Liberty as well. So you could go Elizabeth Williams over on her fantasy score. The projection for her today is 28.7. That's about a 3 fantasy score, 3.2 to be exact, difference than where her line is at 25.5. But I want to say something here. I think there's 2 WNBA games today. Both of them are expected to be blowouts, runaways, butt whoopings. So you got to consider that as well. This game could blow out. Obviously, blowouts are kind of hard to predict. Not a guarantee that they get whooped by the Liberty, but, and that's a big but, because we're talking Elizabeth Williams, there's a chance that maybe the Chicago gets blown out. So, I mean, I would take the over on her fantasy score. She's just been doing big things the last couple of games. She can get into foul trouble, has gotten into foul trouble, but I'm not mad at these first 3 picks. Just saying. We got good projections. We got good hit rates. We got good historical data, head-to-head matchups for Williams. So, I don't know. Y'all let me know what you're thinking. Tyrone, come on now. You know ain't nothing wrong with me. Just like a good wagon. What man doesn't? Let's see what else we got here. Going back through Blake Snell. T-Bone's mentioning some Blake Snell. He's one of our thumbnail faces today. Not Migs. Shout out to you. What's up? High Flyers mentioning Quan and Franco. Wander Franco for batter strikeouts. Okay, let's take a look at both of them. Speaking of wagons, my guy Stephen Kwan has been an absolute wagon. When it comes to batter strikeouts, I take the under on Kwan. I don't think I've ever taken an over on Stephen Kwan and his strikeouts. Let me see something here. Get my bearings. Get my ish together. Let's see, Kwan, hitter strikeouts. Yeah, he's projected for 0.56. He's going up against his former teammate today, Aaron Civale. Right? Just traded recently from Cleveland to Tampa Bay. He'll be making his second start for the Rays. So maybe Stephen Kwan's got to figure it out. Maybe he's got Aaron Civale's number. The projection, according to the bat, though, 0.56 hitter strikeouts. Not bad. Now, some of y'all are saying, but 0.56, isn't that higher than 0.5? Well, yes. Yes, technically it is. But let me show you something real quick. 0.56 is not all that much when you consider that some of these guys are projected for 1.5 strikeouts, right? So 0.56, if we go all the way down to the bottom here, well, what happened? 0.56 comparatively here. Let's go PrizePicks only. There we go. 0.56 is not all that bad. So the lowest projected guy is going to be my other wagon, Luis Matos at 0.5, right? You've got Yoshida from the Boston Red Sox. He's at 0.55 projected hitter strikeouts. 0.56, Stephen Kwan, the third lowest projected strikeout number today. So I just wanted to point that out. 0.56 is not all that bad when you have some guys who are projected for 1.45. So yeah, technically it is a little bit higher than 0.5, but not all that much. So Matos, Yoshida, Kwan, You also asked about Wander Franco. I don't see him on this little list here. So Matos, Yoshida, Kwan, those three guys are your lowest projected strikeout, hitter strikeout options. Let's just take a look at a couple of them real quick and see if any of these are plus EV plays. Kwan, 51% chance that he goes under 1 strikeout today. All right, so it is a plus EV play on the under. Who else did I mention? Yoshi. He is a 50-50 at this time, kind of a coin flip. And my other guy, my other wagon, Mr. Matos of the San Francisco Giants, 51.4% chance that he goes over. They always bet Matos to go over, though. And they've been wrong in the past. I've taken him under, even against the grain here. Even though it's a minus EV play, I've taken Matos under. But anyway, those are some of your options when it comes to hitter strikeouts. Let's take a look at Kwan's numbers on some of these other sites. So RotoWire's got Kwan at 0.47. That's less than 0.5. My guy Matos, 0.41. And Yoshida, 0.41. So all three of those guys, I think, are contenders for under 1 strikeout. We could also take a look at Number Fire, because why not? We're here, right? We might as well. They've got Yoshida at 0.8 Ks. Okay, so they're not very low on Yoshida today. What about Kwan? Go find him. I hate. All right, let's do this. This will be easier. Go FanDuel all day. That's the easiest way to find these guys. The way that they break these guys up on DraftKings and FanDuel. So they've got Kwan at 0.36 projected Ks. Kwan's not looking so bad right now. And who's the other one? Matos, 0.39. So I guess based on the projections, guys, if you were to go with 2 hitter Ks under, it would probably be Matos and Kwan for me. I'd probably put Kwan maybe a little bit above Matos, since Matos is technically not a plus EV play, but Kwan is. All right, let's do it. I'm throwing Steven Kwan in there. We're gonna hit the Kwan, and hopefully he doesn't strike out tonight against his old teammate. But Kwan, more times than not, is gonna go under on his hitter strikeouts. But I like that. And we got to be careful. We can't include any Chicago White Sox in here because it would interfere with Corbin Burns. You cannot play, most of the time, you cannot play hitters versus pitchers from the same game. So something to kind of consider. What else? Just kind of going through your questions, going through your comments. Yeah, some of y'all are concerned, I think, with the blowout for Elizabeth Williams. If you are, feel free to leave her off. I mean, you could also look at one strategy that I use a lot in NBA is going first half only. So let's do that real quick. Let's just look at Elizabeth Williams' first half fantasy score and see if that is hitting or not. We know she's got good hit rates versus New York. Where's she at? 12.5. All right. 2 out of her last 5 games, just, quick glimpse here. I don't know what she's done against New York in the first half in previous games, but you could go first half only if you want to try to avoid the blowout. So, I mean, just throwing it out there. She would probably be the first one to go. If we had to do a cut right now of the 4 picks that are on the board, I'd probably cut her first just because of the potential blowout risk. Let's see here. What else? Verlander under 5 hits allowed, looking nice on the optimizer. Okay. Stu says, I'm new, but it seems like fantasy points are easier to get than total bases. Could be, especially when you got a guy who gets walked a lot, like I don't know, like a Judge or an Ohtani, where those guys start getting hot, pitchers start pitching around them. You know what I mean? Yesterday, I took the fantasy score for Rafael Devers. He did not hit his fantasy score, but his total base number was at 1.5. He ended up getting a double in his last at bat, so he cleared the total bases but did not clear his fantasy score, unfortunately. So it's kind of hard to figure out which way to go, you know, whether you should be taking the fantasy score or total bases on a player. And I can't really give you a good answer, you know, other than, you know, maybe lean on the projections, or if a guy is a good base stealer like a Ronald Acuna, or is he going to get walked a couple times instead of being able to use his bat? Maybe the pitchers are scared of him and they try to pitch around him, like I mentioned in the Judge and Ohtani example. So those are some things to kind of consider. What else? Rise Up is asking about Tariq Skubal under 5.5 Ks. Let's take a look at that one. We'll start it off by going to the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer. They've got him at, let's see, he's at 5. Is he at 5 Ks on PrizePicks? 53.2% chance that he goes over. Let me take a look and just make sure. Did they bump him down? Yeah, he's definitely at 5 Ks. Going up against Boston. Coming off of a 6 strikeout day against the Rays. So he's at 5. Let's take a look at some projections here. The optimizer, though, is suggesting that we take the over on Skubal. 53.2% chance that he clears 5 or more. 5 or more. All right. So apparently he's been bumped down because he is at 5.5 on the books. Let's look at Skubal real quick in his Ks. First projection for him is 5.38 over on the bat. That's less than 5.5. That's we want him to be, you know, closer to 6, right? That's what we're hoping for. We don't want to tie or push. Second projection's got him at 5.1 on RotoWire. Third projection on Skubal, 5.28. I'm just not seeing enough as far as the projections go where he's even getting close to 6. He's probably a 5 or less type of strikeout pitcher today, from what I'm just seeing on these different models. I can't include him on here. Rise Up under 5.5, I think, was definitely the move. So if you could still get him at 5.5 somewhere else on a different site other than PrizePicks, then I would say maybe you should jump on that. Maybe you should. Blake Snell's pitching outs. CP4 asking about those. Let's take a look at Blake Snell, a.k.a. Snellzilla. 16.5 pitching outs. The under looking like the plus EV optimal way to go. 52% chance that he stays under 16.5. So in case y'all don't know what a pitching out is, well, there's 3 outs in every inning, right? So 16.5 pitching outs. He'd have to make it past the 5th inning into the 6th inning. If he completed the 6th inning, 6 innings times 3 pitching outs per inning would be 18 pitching outs. So in other words, they have his line set at 16.5. They think he gets pulled somewhere in the 6th inning. 52% chance that he goes under 16.5 pitching outs. So let's look at some projections on Mr. Blake Snell. First pitching out projection I have provided by the bat, 16.1. So that is slightly under his line of 16.5. Let's go check out RotoWire real quick. They've got Blake Snell at 15.28. So they got him completing 5 innings, but not much more than that at 15.28. You can also check out NumberFire. NumberFire, completely free site. His pitching outs, in this case, they're giving us innings pitched. And if you remember what I just told you, there's 3 pitching outs in every inning, right? So 6 innings pitched, we would just want to multiply 6.01 times 3 for 18.03. So we've got one model here, which is NumberFire, who thinks that Blake Snell makes it through 6 innings. He completes 6 innings and records 18 pitching outs. All right. Then you got 2 other sites who think that he's going to go for less. So it's kind of up in the air. But yeah, the plus EV move on Blake Snell is to take the under on his pitching outs at 16.5. And you got a couple of models that would agree that taking the under on Snell at 16.5 is the move. So There's a little bit of info for you on Mr. Blake Snell. Trying to catch up with what you guys are putting down. Brian Williams says, top of the afternoon, gangster. Let's get this money. That's what we're trying to do. That's the goal. Chris is mentioning Jonquel Jones from the New York Liberty at 9.5 boards. Are you wanting the over or under on that? Over or under on that Jonquel Jones play? I think is that who we're talking about? Jonquel Jones. Let me go double check. 9.5 versus Chicago. Yeah, she's been boarding up, huh? Been boarding up like a hurricane's coming. 11 against Minnesota, 13 against LA. Falls down a little bit against LA in that back-to-back. 17 against Minnesota and 14 against the Aces. Whew. All right, Jonquel, I see you. I see you. Let's go take a look at some data here on Jonquel Jones real quick. Let's go rebounds. This is Prop.Cash, by the way. If you're not using Prop.Cash, you want access to all these fancy charts and graphs, you can save 25% off of your first month by going down to the description of today's video. I've left a link down there. Use code Curry when you sign up. You'll save yourself some moolah on that first month of Props.Cash. Just saying, I'm trying to help you guys out, and you guys can help me out by supporting using those affiliate links down in the description of today's video. Jonquel Jones has been a rebounding monster. I mean, let's look at these last 10 games in particular, right? She has increased her rebounds per game, her average, to 12.4. Now, she was averaging 8.4 for the season. So overall, 8.4. Last 10, 12.4. Crazy. Her rebounding has been off the charts here. Now, we take a look at what she's done against Chicago. Ooh, it ain't so cute. It's ugly, in fact. 2 rebounds June 2nd, 6 rebounds June 4th. Why did that happen? You know, I wish I could tell you. Let's see if we can maybe figure that out here. Her minutes were pretty bad. 19 and 21. Just 20 minutes per game in those 2 games against Chicago. Whereas in the last 10 games, her minutes had now shot up to 28.5 minutes. So yeah, you put her out there for another 8.5 minutes, her rebound totals are likely to increase, which has seemed to be the situation here. She's getting more minutes over the last 10 games, even more minutes over the last 5 games. She's been pretty stable, pretty steady, right around 30 minutes per game over the last 5 games. So I don't know if she was getting in foul trouble. I don't know if she was just in the doghouse. I don't know why she only received 19 and 21 minutes. Could have been a foul situation. I don't know. I wish I could tell you. But her minutes were definitely down. She's playing about 9 to 10 more minutes over the last 5 games than she was in those previous games against Chicago. So in an additional 9 to 10 minutes of court time, I would imagine that she's able to pull in some more rebounds. Hopefully these numbers go up if you're considering the over on Jonquel Jones. So that's the situation. Let's see if we can get you a projection here on Jonquel Jones. She is projected for 8.6 boards, folks. Again, the line's 9.5, so you know what I'm saying? May not come to pass. May not work out in your favor. See, do we have her on the optimizer here? Let's pull her up. Well, seems like the sports books have her at 10.5. PrizePicks has her at 9.5, which gives her about a 56.7% chance of clearing the 9.5 number. Y'all let me know. We taking Jonquel Jones over 9.5 boards? Talk to me. New to the team? Okay. Thank you. I don't follow WNBA super close, but that's good to know. Taking the boards for John Quell and dropping Elizabeth. Okay. James says, shout out to the Out of Bounds Discord gang. Appreciate you, James. Any locks? I assume that you mean, is there a pick that has a 100% guarantee when you say the word locks? And my answer to you would be, if that's what you mean by locks, no, absolutely not. There are no locks. But there are plays that are rooted in, data, projecting well, and so on and so forth, that, might have like a 50-something% chance to hit, like 56.7.4% chance to hit, which is not 100% chance. 56.74 is a far cry from 100%. So no locks, no locks. We're definitely gambling here. Let's see. Wilson, Asia Wilson's rebounds. Projecting good on all models. Let's take a look at Asia Wilson. Asia Wilson's sitting at sitting at what? 10 boards. 50% chance that she goes under. 50% chance that she goes over. Not a plus EV play. This is a, let's call it a EV neutral play. It's not a plus or a minus. It's a coin flip. I think we can do better than a coin flip, can't we? We got to be able to do better than a coin flip. Her projected rebounds, though, 12. RotoWire's got her at 12. So if you trust the projections, I mean, roll with it, ride with it. But yeah, I mean, it's a coin flip based on the odds. Again, these games are expected to blow out, these WNBA games. So you know that you're playing with fire when it comes to any game involving the Aces and the Liberty. They have been known to blow their opponents out. Did we look at Luis Castillo under fantasy score? I think we did, right? He's a 56.7% chance to go under. I think there was like one model that had Castillo over 37.5. They had him as high as like 39, but I think most of the models were slightly under on Castillo. They must stay away from that. I think the projections were just a little too sharp. Just a little too sharp. Let's go back to some baseball. See if there's something else. Let's dig around here a little bit more. Jesus Luzardo under 5 hits allowed. 54.7% chance that he allows less than 5. So he's at 4.5 on the books. They must be betting it up, which is why PrizePicks has bumped him up to 5. So let's go take a look at some projections for the Lizard King, Jesus Luzardo. 4.98, that puts him like right at 5. Could potentially be in a tie or push situation here. 4.44 according to RotoWire. Number Fire's got Luzardo at 4.98 as well. So you've got a pretty good chance that he gives up about 5 hits from what it's looking like. I'm going to probably stay away from that one. Too many projections, man. Too many projections that have him right around 5. Again, I'm just trying to avoid any picks that could tie or push. I want the full shebang. If we're going to go for it, we're going to go big, right? Just to show you guys what I was talking about earlier. Those of you who have been rocking with me since the beginning of the show, some of you got in here late. I was telling the folks here, I said, the way to go here on your 6-pick flex on Flex Friday is to put 33-33 for a chance to win 833-25. Now, why 33-33? Because if I get 4 out of 6 right, I technically win $13.33. So 33.33 minus $20, I get $13.33 in winnings. I know it's not actually winning, but what that means is we've lost 20 net dollars, right? 33.33 minus $20, $13.33 is coming back to me. So your protected play is protected up to $20 in net losses. So we're hoping that we go 4 out of 6 or better. Hoping for 4 out of 6 or better. That's why you should be putting $33.33. No, I'm not taking Andrew Abbott. Maybe I'm taking Jonquel Jones. The fact that she's getting more minutes, I think we can throw her old game logs in the gutter and hope for better performance today against Chicago. I don't think those old game logs matter much. She wasn't even playing 20 minutes a game back then. She looks like a totally different woman when it comes to rebounding the ball. She's not projecting well. Just want to throw that out there. But yeah, lately she has been double-digit boards or better. So she's a maybe for me. Elizabeth Williams is a maybe for me as well. Because as I mentioned before, blowouts are a thing in that game, New York and Chicago. I would expect that there's probably a greater blowout risk in the Vegas Aces versus who are they playing again? Minnesota Lynx. I would imagine that game's got the higher blowout risk. All right. Supreme says, looking forward to seeing everybody in the Patreon winner's circle tonight, especially when the kitchen gets to kitchening. Salute as always for all that you do. Appreciate you, Supreme. Yeah, if you guys aren't part of the Patreon gang yet, you should think about it. You know, join Patreon. It's like 60, 70 cents per day. Not too bad. Less than a cup of coffee. And $20 for the month. Post-winning picks, cheat sheets, communities posting stuff, sharing information. I mean, we're all just trying to help each other win. And that goes a long way in helping a content creator like myself. So, Broderick's talking about some Natasha Cloud, PRA. Can we look at that one? I'm not going to get to everybody's suggestions, everybody's picks and plays, unfortunately, but that's why they have Super Chat. If you want to stand out from the crowd, if you want your comment to be highlighted in the chat, think about leaving a Super Chat. And that way you can guarantee that you are seen by yours truly, and I'll definitely help you out. But Natasha Cloud's at 21.5 PRA. Just a quick glimpse. She's only done this once out of her last 5 games. Taking a look at the optimizer. Let's go take a look at Cloud. Well, let's see here. We're going to have to go turn WNBA back on. Natasha Cloud's PRA. Man, they got a lot of combos up for Cloud. Again, not a plus EV play. It's going to be one of those 50-50 calls. Set at 21.5 points, rebounds, and assists. 50% chance that she goes over, which means there's a 50% chance that she can also go under. That's right, folks. Not 100%. No locks. Let's put in a projection here for Cloud. She's projected for 15.3 points, 4.3 boards, plus another 5.8 dimes. Bust out the calculator. 4.3 plus 5.8. That's 25.4 PRA on a line of 21.5. And then you could also go back if you wanted to and take a look at how she's done against opponents in previous games. Let's go find her. First time playing Vegas. She's averaging exactly 21.5 PRA for the season. As I mentioned before, she's only gone over 21.5 PRA once in the last 5 games. Kind of going into this in the dark a little bit. We don't know how she's going to perform against Vegas. I haven't seen her play against them before. She's not exactly hot right now in the last 5 games. So, I don't know. I'm going to stay away. I know the projection's looking good at 25.4, but I think we can probably find something better, right? Possibly, maybe. But that is one. That is one that is definitely projecting well. What else? We're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks. Like I said, these WNBA girls might end up in a blowout. You could definitely leave them alone if you wanted to. I think both games are expected to be blown out. Brian Williams is liking Jonquel Jones' rebounds despite the blowout risk. All right, love to see that. She's not projecting well. Jose Barrios under 5.5 Ks. Yeah, there's a lot of plus EV plays on the board. All this green, These are all plus EV plays. Due to time constraints, we'll call it, we're not going to be able to dig into all of these. A lot of these are combo plays. I don't like playing combo plays personally. I don't know if you guys have had success. Let me know in the chat, but I don't personally like to play too many combo plays. What's the one we were just talking about? Joey Meneses K's. Sabrina Ionescu is a lock on the under for 16.5 points. Whew, she's been pretty hot though, man. Hasn't she? Let's look at Jose Barrios. Sometimes they have those little accents in their name. Yeah, there he is. Under 5.5 hits allowed? Ks? No, you're looking at Ks. 51.5% chance that he goes under 5.5 Ks. 52.2% chance that he goes under 5.5 hits allowed. So out of the two options, both lines are set at 5.5. The under on the hits allowed is actually slightly better when it comes to being a plus EV play. But let's look at both. We can do both. Let's see. He is sitting at 5.83 hits allowed, which is more than 5.5. He's also sitting at 5.63 strikeouts. Again, both lines are at 5.5, so slight overs on the projections for Barrios. Let's look at this one. 5.5 hits allowed. He's projected for 5.0. That's less than 5.5. Strikeouts 5.2. All right, so you had the bat over on both categories. Now you got RotoWire under on both categories. Let's take a look at Fantasy Labs. I know they will have his strikeouts, but they probably will not have his hits allowed. His Ks are at 5.1, which is less. They won't have his hits allowed, as I mentioned. Number Fire will have both. Let's go take a look there. They've got his hits at 5.2, which is less than 5.5, and they got his Ks at 5.81, which is more than 5.5. So I would say probably the hits allowed. I can understand why that is a higher or better plus EV play at 52.2%. He is projected over on the bat, but he's projected under pretty much everywhere else on the hits allowed. So I would say the under on the hits allowed if you were to choose between them. Brian says, that's where I thrive, bro. The hits, runs, and RBI combos are fire. Yeah, I always just kind of skip over them. I mean, yeah, picking the right ones sounds easy in theory. Just got to pick the right ones. Well, isn't that the case with all of the picks, right? You just got to pick the right ones. Just pick the right ones. Yeah, I know. It's a lot harder than it sounds, picking the right ones. Let's see. Brian dropping a bunch of stuff here. Let me take a look. He said, he's liking Ramirez and Franco, Acuna and Lindor, Ohtani and Tucker, Carroll and Tatis. Tatis has been cold. Careful with him if you plan on taking the over. Witt and Goldschmidt. Now, I don't know if you're wanting to go over or under on all of these, but yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. T-Bone's liking some Brianna Stewart over 1.5 3-point makes. More than 1.5 3-point makes. Let's go. Let's go look at Brianna Stewart over 1.5 3-point makes. I've got her projected for 1.4 3-point makes. Here we go again, right? Another tight line, potentially. Tight number. Let's go pull her up on the optimizer real quick. See where she's at. So Brianna Stewart's top plus EV play would be her assist combo. Courtney Williams, Brianna Stewart assist combo over on 9. Just a food for thought. You're looking at the 3-point makes. I don't know if she's on here. Oh yeah, she's all the way down here. It's a 50% prop, man. It's one of them coin flips. So I mean, if you have unearthed some sort of edge or advantage through looking through game logs or matchups or whatever, I would say go with it if you think it's looking good. I don't really see any type of odds advantage or anything like that. Soto over Tatis. Yeah, I think Soto's been the better hitter lately. LJ, I think you got a point there. Scrolling through. If you guys have any other questions, let me know. Let me know. Broderick, you left a super chat. What did you leave? You said strikeouts. CJ strikeouts. Trying to see. I don't know what you meant by that. Bruh. Gotta let me know. Oh, Joey Meneses over strikeouts. Gotcha. Well, that was forever ago. Let me look. Let me look into it a little further for you. Yeah, the little bot that moderates the chat, I think deleted his message because it was probably flagged as spam because it was such a long message. Let me see if I can pull that back up. Hold up. Yeah, he was liking, I guess, all of these over. He said Ramirez and Franco over, Acuna and Lindor over, Ohtani and Tucker over, Carroll and Tatis Jr. over, Witt and Goldschmidt over. So those were his combos. We got a bump. Oh, they bumped Jonquel Jones. You mudda suckers. All right, I'm going to leave her off now that she's up to 10. That makes my decision making easier. All right. Yeah, I don't know. Something happened. Something's up with Brian, man. He must have pissed the bot off or something. I don't know why he why his comments keep getting deleted. I have no idea. No, well, they're not all getting deleted, but some of them are. I don't know. I guess whenever he posts long comments, they delete them. My bad, Brian. I don't have any control over that. Well, at least not right now. I'd have to go like tweak some things with that little chat bot that moderates everything. Anyway, Meneses. Joey Meneses. 52% chance that he goes over. Like I said, y'all, this is not a 100% chance, right? 52% is not a 100%. So this is not a lock. This is not a guarantee, but the odds seem to favor the over at 0.5 Ks. So 52% chance that he goes over 0.5 Ks. So, I mean, we could go pull some projections up on Joey Meneses real quick. He's facing Paul Blackburn. Not a great strikeout guy, Paul Blackburn. 0.78 is your first projection on Meneses. Let's go pull him up over here on RotoWire. They've got him at 0.92. So you're looking at like 0.78 to 0.92. Yeah, that's what I said. They bumped Jones up to from 9.5 to 10. Chris, calm down, buddy. It's not the end of the world. There's other picks. We weren't even that high on Jonquel Jones to begin with because her projection was pretty low. I know. Jonquel's been bumped. You're all right, Chris. It's going to be okay, buddy. We'll find other picks. They just bumped Jones. Breaking news, y'all. Jonquel Jones is not at 9.5 rebounds anymore. She's up to 10. And Chris is heartbroken. Chris, it's going to be all right. Listen, we're going to find other picks. Jonquel Jones will not stop what we've got going on here. Okay. It's going to be okay, buddy. But yeah, she's been bumped. She is not 9.5 anymore. She is now 10. Yeah, probably won't even hit. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? She could very well go out there and get 9 rebounds. I wasn't even that sold on her to begin with. But yeah, Joey Meneses projecting over on his Ks. Let's check one last model here. they've got him at 0.71 over on Number Fire. So 0.71 kind of being the low end, 0.92 did we say being sort of the high end. He is a plus EV play, so Meneses for one strikeout may not be a bad look. Yeah, I took Jonquil off because she's not at 9.5 anymore, in case y'all didn't know that. Let's see. What else y'all liking? LJ, we were liking some Mookie Betts. Now, listen, if you're liking the hits, runs, and RBIs, we're liking the total bases. You could go fantasy score on Mookie Betts tonight, too. I mean, Austin Gomber, not a pitcher that we're scared of, so you could definitely go against Austin Gomber with a guy like Mookie Betts or Freddie Freeman, or, you know, pick your favorite Dodger hitter. But we've got Betts at 1.5 total bases so far. Man, I really want to include my guy Matos to go under one strikeout. He's just done it a lot. He's been very good to me. He's been very loyal. Where's he at? All the way down here at the bottom, just hiding out. He's just hiding out. Now, he struck out twice against the Angels. It's going to happen. Sometimes he strikes out. Let me just see. Let me just look at it. I'm just curious, man. He's a slight betting favorite to go over 0.5 Ks. Oh, he's going up against John Gray. Interesting. All right. John Gray. John Gray's had some good stuff in the past. Let me look at this, though. Here's why I like PropStat Cash. So you go in here to PropStat Cash, you can take a look at how the Giants have performed against John Gray since 2017. They got all that data in there. Now, Matos has never faced Gray, so we can't really look at that. But this season, 166 plate appearances, he's got an 11.4% strikeout rate, which is the lowest amongst the projected starters of the Giants. When you take a look at what he's done against right-handed pitchers, that number does kind of come up a little bit. So he's got a lower strikeout rate when it comes to facing lefties. John Gray is a righty. 15% strikeout rate. Not terrible. Still not bad. But I'm going to stay away from it, man. I don't like the Chris. I don't like the push possibility either, man. I'm with you. That's all right. Hey, maybe you want to take the under on Jonquil Jones now. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying. She was projected for less than 9 rebounds. What else we got? Chris, I think there's something wrong with your phone, bro. Are you on a phone or computer? I mean, you're double posting everything. And it seems like, I don't know, like you're going through something, brother. Are you all right? Are you experiencing a medical emergency, Chris? Worried about you, dog. Let's use the EV analytics here and take a look at some other ways that we could possibly play some things here. So we're gonna go PrizePicks, hitter Ks. So we already talked about Matos. He's kind of an iffy one for me. Yoshida, possibly. Boston Red Sox, possibly under 0.5 Ks. What else we got here at 0.5? Sal Perez over 0.5 Ks. He's projected for 0.79 on the bat. We talked about Joey Meneses, who's projected for 0.78 Ks. Got Nolan Jones of the Rockies going up against the Dodgers. 1.33 projected Ks. His line is 1.5, so you'd have to strike out twice to sell you. Who's pitching for the Dodgers tonight? That might be interesting. Let's look at Nolan Jones. Lance Lynn. Ooh, no, staying away from that one. That's right, Lance Lynn, and he's got like a 7 to 8K projection on all the books. Yeah, I'm gonna stay away from that one. What else we got? Mickey Moniak, he's at 1.5, going up against Verlander. Verlander's been he's been all right as far as his K stuff. 1.38 is his projection. Let's take a look at Moniak. 1.76 over on RotoWire. What else? Just perusing. We're browsing here. Gunnar Henderson versus Luis Castillo, 1.42. So they got him projected for less than 1.5. What does RotoWire have him at? 1.37. That may not be terrible. So maybe Gunnar Henderson over, or sorry, Gunnar Henderson under 1.5 Ks. Castillo probably gets him at least once, and then it would just be hopefully like a bullpen situation where he's facing a bullpen for the rest of the game. It's an option. It's an option. Montero, again, going up against Lynn. I'm going to probably stay away from that one, but maybe Gunnar Henderson under 1.5. That one's projecting well. Let's see where he's at on the optimizer. Yeah, he's a 52% chance of going under at 1.5. So that is a plus EV play if you wanted to take Gunnar Henderson under 1.5. I'm not mad at that. 52% chance. Projecting well on a couple different models. Let's go look him up here on NumberFire. They got Gunnar Henderson at 1.35. Look, let's roll with it, man. We need to wrap this up, right? We need a couple more plays. He's projecting under 1.5 on 3 different models. He's a plus EV play to go under 1.5. I like it. We got my guy Quan in there under 1 strikeout going up against his former teammate Savali. Hopefully he's got Savali's number. I like where we're at with most of these. As we mentioned before, Elizabeth Williams' fantasy score is one of those ones where it's kind of, there is some risk due to blowout. Let's see. I didn't really look at Abbott too close. Let me look at him though. Abbott's been kind of sneaky good though. So he's at what? 5.5 going up against the Pirates. Yeah, he had 9 against Milwaukee, 6 against San Francisco recently, 5 against Chicago. Washington gave him some hard times. All right, 5.5. Let's go see how this is looking. Andrew Abbott is a 53% to go under 5.5 Ks. So we would not want to go over in this case. I don't know if that's what you were suggesting on Abbott, over or under, but he's a 53% to go under 5.5. So we can pull some projections up on Abbott. Maybe he ends up making the roster here. The bat has him at 5.48, which is slightly less than 5.5. He is sitting at 5.3 over on RotoWire. 5.3 on RotoWire. Let's go to the Fantasy Labs projections on Abbott. 6.4. Woo. Well, that's quite a bit higher than 5.5. And then let's check NumberFire as well on Abbott. They've got him at 5.59. Yeah, I'm going to stay away from it, man. I think I will stay away. That is a fado for me. Caesar says Freddie Freeman over 1.5 total bases. Yeah, like I said, Austin Gomber is a guy who you will want to probably target. Take some hitters against him. Take Williams off. You might be right about that. Freeman over total bases definitely looks good. Check out Soto. Soto for what? What are we liking on Juan Soto? Let's see what the DGF says. See if we got any other fantasy options here. Castillo, man. It's Castillo under fantasy score. We already got Corbin Burns. I'm afraid that one's going to get bumped soon. Johan Oviedo over 31.5. Man, that seems high for him. Yelich Yelich over 9. Acuna under 11. Nah, I can never go under on Acuna. Just can't bring myself to do it. I'd rather just fade Acuna than to take the under on Acuna. Yeah, Lynn over 7.5 Ks, man. there's definitely some juice on the over at 7.5, but there's also a lot of models that had Lance Lynn even under 7Ks. So it's kind of been a fade for me this morning. Aaron Judge. Hits, runs, and RBIs. All right, let's look at it. Hits, runs, and RBIs. For the hits, runs, and RBIs, based on what we're seeing on DraftKings Sportsbook, we've got a 51% chance that he goes under that, which isn't a very strong chance. It's almost a coin flip, in fact. So if you wanted to go under on Judge, I mean, that's the way that the juice is flowing. What about the projections, though, for Judge? Let's go take a look at Aaron Judge here. Hits, runs, and RBIs. Yeah, he's projected for 2.48 hits, runs, and RBIs. So almost one whole hits, runs, and RBIs over his line of 1.5. I tend to favor taking Judge fantasy score just because he does kind of draw some walks from time to time. I haven't looked at the fantasy score for Judge. I don't know what it's at today, but his projection over on RotoWire is 2.36. I guess his line today's fantasy score is 8.5. But yeah, going up against Luzardo, who's been a good pitcher this season. I don't know. I don't know about that one. It's kind of iffy for me. I don't like the fact that it's not a plus EV play to go over. There's some sharp bettors out there, and if they're not putting their money on the over on Judge, well, it's a little bit worrisome, don't you think? What else we got? Luzardo under 5 hits allowed. We looked at that one. That one's probably push potential, which I'm not really wanting to go there. Mookie Betts under 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Almost a 54% chance that Betts goes under his hits, runs, and RBIs line. We've got him for total bases, though. Yeah, like I said, both of those WNBA games tonight are potential traps, just due to the blowout risk. They're scary stuff. I'm just scrolling through here and looking at some of these other plus EV options. Ohtani over 0.5 runs. Interesting. Yandy Diaz over 1.5 total bases. I think I saw somebody mention Yandy Diaz earlier today. Earlier in the chat. Let me look at something here. Let me look at something here for Yandy. He's projected for 1.97 total bases. Brian says, go with the Shohei-Kyle combo. I hear you, man, but they're saying take the under at 59.5%. And Brian, you're liking the over on that. Is that what you're saying? Isn't that what you said? The projections had Ohtani and Tucker to go slightly higher than 4 on their hits, runs, and RBI combo. So you are definitely going against the grain, my friend. I can't do that, especially when the under's at a 59.5%. Like, I'd rather maybe look at one of these other combos and go that way. What about Corbin Carroll, Fernando Tatis? We talked about Tatis. Tatis is kind of considered to be cold or in a slump at this time. Carroll and Tatis over 4 hits, runs, and RBIs. I mean, we could look at it. Let's look at it. Let's look at it. Corbin Carroll's projected for 2.09 hits, runs, and RBIs. Tatis is projected for 3. 2 and 3 makes 5. But we're banking on Tatis snapping out of whatever funk he's been in. So, I mean, that's not terrible. They combine for 5 hits, runs, and RBIs. The line is at 4. Let's look at something else here. Tatis hits, runs, and RBIs 2.48. Corbin Carroll's at 1.65. Puts him at 4.13, still a little bit higher than 4. So you could go Carroll and Tatis, but as I mentioned before, I think we pulled up Tatis and he was on the cold list. Cold. There was, oh, here we go. So what does that mean? Cold. I'll show you what that means. Cold flag. Cold flag basically means if a check mark is present, it means that the hitter is currently on a cold streak. This is by necessity a somewhat arbitrary definition based in part on old research I did. And this is Derek Carty who wrote this, the guy who created the bat projections. Based in part on old research I did while writing at FanDuel. Cold is defined as a hitter whose WOBA over the past 3 weeks is at least 15% worse than his baseline WOBA. If a hitter has started to show signs of life, defined by being no less than 5% worse than his baseline WOBA over the past week, he will no longer be considered cold and will not receive a check mark. While cold streaks on the whole hold debatable predictive value, intuitively it seems as though cold players may be likely to remain cold. They could be playing injured, have something wrong mechanically or psychologically, etc. It should be noted that while I consider this a potentially valuable piece of information to consider, cold streaks are not factored into the projected numbers, but I would not begrudge anyone for manually adjusting a cold player's projection down or staying away from him entirely. So just to put you guys on notice, Tatis is on the cold list. I know that was a bit long-winded, but he and Corbin Carroll are projected pretty well for their hits, runs, and RBIs. Tatis is facing Ryan Nelson. Corbin Carroll is facing Blake Snell. So, I don't know. I'm going to stay away from that one. Top 10 highlights. If you had a chance to win $1 million for a 2-pick power play, who would you choose? Choose. I would probably put Corbin Burnes in there. I like the fact that he's projecting under on every single daily fantasy projection model that I've looked at. He's also an optimizer under today. So I like Corbin Burnes quite a bit. And my guy Steven Kwan is just Mr. Dependable, man. He doesn't strike out a whole lot. He is going against Aaron Savali. I would like to think that he faces Savali at least 3 times and does not strike out to his former teammate. And then it just comes down to Kwan versus the bullpen, the Rays bullpen. But Kwan does not strike out a whole lot. So Burnes and Kwan for $1 million, maybe. I know, man. We're looking for that. We're looking for that last player. It's eluding us, right? It's eluding us. I don't know. And even Elizabeth Williams. I mean, we could look for a potential replacement for her. What else we got here? Let's just go through different categories. I like taking unders on some of these runs. Wander Franco under a run, 0.58 projected runs. Let's look at something here. 0.50 according to RotoWire. Let's go over to Number Fire real quick. They've got Wonder Boy projected for 0.64 runs, so 0.5 to 0.64 projected runs for Franco. Look, let's look at this. Yeah, and he's kind of a 50-50, kind of a coin flip for runs based on the odds pulled from the sports books. I can live without him. What about total bases? I like betting against hitters, man. Hitting a baseball's hard, in case y'all have not heard that. Yeah, hitting baseballs is difficult. What else we got? 1.5 total bases. Whit Merrifield is projected for just 1.6 total bases. Do we think he reaches base twice? I mean, the projections are suggesting that he doesn't, or that his chances of doing so aren't very high. Here's a projection of 1.70 on Whit Merrifield. Let's see, is this a plus EV play? Total bases under 1.5, 51.4% chance that he goes under. So maybe. Luis Robert, is he okay? Because he left the game early the other night, sliding into second base on a steal attempt. It looked like he jacked his hand or wrist or something up. I think they pulled him. They pulled him out of the game. Asia Wilson over on rebounds. I hear you. I just, these WNBA games, bro. Blowout. City. Court Williams for an assist. You know, I've had a lot of good luck with WNBA fantasy score. Let me look at something real quick. I know we got Elizabeth Williams in there. Let me pull some different fantasy score options up real quick. Actually, let me open up another PrizePicks tab over here. It's easier to kind of make use of my multiple monitor setup. Let's see. I'm just going to buzz through these real quick. Find one that has like a good differential. So Brianna Stewart's at 46.5. She's projected for 43.1. That's not too bad. I think we can find a better one. Copper, 28.6, projected for 29 on PrizePicks. Sabrina's at 34.45, 33.5 on PrizePicks. Mabry's at 27.3 projection. She's at 26 on PrizePicks. Vandersloot, 26.5 on PrizePicks, 28.2 projection. Courtney Williams is at 27 on PrizePicks, 29 on RotoWire. Jonquel Jones, she is at 31 on PrizePicks, but at 26.4 on RotoWire. That's kind of interesting for an under. Jonquel Jones under 31 fantasy score with a projection of just 26.4. I'm kind of interested in that. Elizabeth Williams, 28.7. We talked about her line is at 25.5. Let's check these other ones real quick. Laney, 19.5 on PrizePicks, 19.9. That's tight. Smith, 23.5 on PrizePicks, 27.1. She gets into too much foul trouble. Alana Smith, I hate that. She is not to be trusted. Asia Wilson, 45 on PrizePicks, 48.1 on RotoWire. Cloud is at 26.5 on PrizePicks, 29.5. That's about a difference of 3. Plum, 30.3, but her PrizePicks line's 30. Too close for comfort. Sykes is at 31 on PrizePicks, 34.68 on RotoWire. Gray is at 33.5 on PrizePicks, 34.7 on RotoWire. Tiana Hawkins, 23 on PrizePicks, 25.9 on RotoWire. Walker Kimbrough, 17.5 on PrizePicks, 22.1. So that's not bad. That's almost 5 fantasy score difference. Maisha Hines-Allen, 18.5 on PrizePicks, 22.3 on RotoWire. So you got both of these Washington Mystics players, 17.5 and 18.5. Both are projected to go under or over. And then Jackie Young, who's at 31 on PrizePicks and 34 on RotoWire. All right, so that's kind of a quick run through on all the fantasy score options. I think I'm going to go with, I'll take Jonquel Jones under. That one seemed to have the biggest gap where she's at on PrizePicks versus the projections on RotoWire. So she could join the list. I think I'm gonna just rock with this, man, and see where it goes tonight. If anybody sells us, it might be Elizabeth Williams. If anyone sells us, it might be Elizabeth Williams, but she's been good lately. And she is projecting well. I'm not mad at these other ones, though. And like I said, for those of you who are just getting here, putting 33-33, if you got it in your account, is really the way to go on a 6-pick flex on your protected play. Because you get up to $20 in net losses back, right? So if you get 4 out of 6 right, it'll say you won $13.33, which is $20 less than what you risked. So if you want to take full advantage, let's hope we go 4 for 6. Or better, 4 for 6 or better. We want to go 6 for 6. Let's hope we go 4 for 6 or better, right? If we hit 4 out of 6, we're going to get our full $20 protected play back. So we ain't really losing anything. So, I mean, that's what I'm going to go with. I mean, we can't do any more than this. Players got to play. They got to take the field, take the court, do what they do, right? And it's out of our hands once the clock starts. So I'm going to go with that. We'll lock it in. $833.25 will come our way, hopefully, if we get all 6 right. And for those of you wondering, these are my MLB season-long plays. Matt Olson cooked me, man. 39 dingers from Matt Olson already. He was at 36.5 for the season. I took the under. He blew that out of the water, and he's still going. So shout out to Matt Olson. You ruined my potential 6-pick flex. Christian Javier, probably not going to get to 187 strikeouts this season, unfortunately. These other ones are looking good, though. I mean, Dylan Cease, under 225.5. Yes, sir. Max Scherzer, under 215.5. It's looking good. Sandy Alcantara, under 197.5. Looking good. And Corbin Burns, under 230.5. I think that's looking pretty good, too. And I think Luis Castillo is going to get over 183.5. So this will probably turn into a double up for me, but hey, man. What can you do, you know? I wish they'd increase the payouts on some of these MLB, NFL, NBA futures plays, but that's just me. Wishful thinking. What else can we do, y'all? That's our entry. 6-pick flex. 33-33 put in on it. Hopefully we win 833.25. We took Burns under fantasy score. Betts over total bases. Elizabeth Williams over fantasy score. Stephen Kwan under a strikeout. Gunnar Henderson under 2 strikeouts, and Jonquel Jones for less than 31 fantasy score. Good luck if you tailed. Drop a like on your way out. Share the stream, the replay with a friend, and we will catch you in the next video, guys. Good luck. Peace.